I think the most important kind of aha teaching moment that's happened to me in the last, well, since I've been at UNBC in particular, has been realizing that I think about history and historical interpretation often in quite different ways from my students. As a student, as a learner myself, I'm a textual learner. But a few years ago, in conversation with a colleague, I realized that perhaps my students are not textual learners, and here I am sort of forcing them to use text and lamenting the fact that they don't understand historical interpretation and they don't seem to be understanding what I'm trying to teach them. And I thought about the fact that maybe there's a different way that they're thinking about history. So I decided to pilot an assignment in a third-year gender history class, and I gave students the option, instead of just writing a paper at the end of the semester on a topic related to the course, that they could do an artistic interpretation. So they could create a collage or a painting or a sculpture. They could create a blog as a teaching tool that they could develop to allow them to teach someone else about the subject that they're interested in. They could write a short story about it, or they could make a film. But the thing that surprised me the most was that the paper that they wrote explaining their project was way better than any paper they'd ever written for me. And what I came out of that experience realizing is that these students have ways of thinking about history and interacting with history and thinking about historical interpretation. Having those conversations, those aren't the same as how I think about it. And that's okay. That we don't have to put students force them into these boxes to write these papers and to do these things the way that we've always done, because what's important is that they understand how to think, how to read, and how to create about history. And in the end, that's the product that's the most important.